who are waiting years patiently in line trying to follow the rules of legal immigration to come into our country. But yet, the Biden administration will welcome anybody who can either secretly or less than secretly come into the United States from the southern border. Is that not correct?
I don't believe so. I believe that the people showing up at the border are mostly seeking humanitarian protections because there's a dire need in this hemisphere.
How about you, Mr. Secure? Do you think that my description is correct?
I do, Senator, and that seems to be obvious from watching the evening news.
Well, the agencies responsible for the legal immigration system, Mr. Costa, are failing to process applications promptly, aren't they?
I would say it depends. For low wage,
Did you see that? Because I need to make sure I'm not the only one who caught it. Senator John Kennedy just walked into that hearing room and in under 6 minutes exposed one of the biggest contradictions in American immigration policy. No theatrics, no shouting. Just calm, pointed questioning. And those experts? They couldn't give him a straight answer. Now I'll give you my full reaction after we watch the whole thing. But I'll say this right now, whether you're left, right, or just someone who believes rules should mean something, this video is going to make you feel something. If you're new here, welcome. Hit subscribe because this is exactly the kind of content we cover. If you've been here, you already know what time it is. Let's get into it. Lean forward, direct tone. Okay.
Mr. Carr, I hope the only reason that you're going to appear on CNN is for the quality of your peaches. Senator Kennedy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It seems to me that America was born on a farm. And you can't operate a farm without workers. We can't feed ourselves or our world's neighbors without farm workers. And sometimes we need help from neighbors who live in foreign countries. Is that a fair statement, Mr. Costa?
yes, I believe immigrants play an important role.
Mr. Costa, do you believe that illegal immigration is illegal?
Under the statutes, yes.
Okay. Mr. Sakara, am I saying your name right? Do you agree with that statement?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Costa, what grade, A, B, C, D, F, would you give President Biden's administration on combating illegal immigration?
I don't know what grade I would put it. I think they've made some useful improvements, but I think that the border there's so much money going to the border that I think the border is mostly secure. People are mostly turning themselves in. They're not really crossing the border without authorization.
You can't give a grade? You're an expert on immigration, and you can't give a grade?
Oh, I guess if I had to, I'd probably be about a C, right in the middle somewhere.
A C or a D?
A C, because they kept some Trump policies in place. They've made some improvements. They're
Right.
sort of in between.
Okay, how about you, Mr. Sakura?
Are we grading on a curve, Senator?
No, sir.
I would be generous and say a D minus.
Okay. All right. Can we agree that either President Biden's administration believes in open borders, or the person that he has put in charge of making immigration policy is not qualified to manage a food truck?
I would fully reject the notion that the Biden administration believes in open borders.
Okay, how about you, Mr. Secure?
At the risk of being too lawyerly, I might be interested in the definition of open borders. I think it's certainly fair to say there is a lack of significant enforcement at the border. And in fact, my clients who
Well, let me try to put a finer point on it. Right now, we have conscientious farm workers who live in other countries, some of whom have worked here before. We have Nigerian doctors. We have German engineers who are waiting years patiently in line, trying to follow the rules of legal immigration to come into our country. But yet, the Biden administration will welcome anybody who can either secretly or less than secretly come into the United States from the southern border. Is that not correct?
I don't believe so. I believe that the people showing up at the border are mostly seeking humanitarian protections because there's a dire need in this hemisphere.
How about you, Mr. Secure? Do you think that my description is correct?
I do, Senator, and that seems to be obvious from watching the evening news.
Well, the agencies responsible for the legal immigration system, Mr. Costa, are failing to process applications promptly, aren't they?
I would say it depends. For low-wage work visas, they are mostly processing them quite quickly. I would
We've
say.
got a backlog of 24 million applications. What do you mean it depends?
It depends on which visa you're talking about. I would say for H-2B, for instance, the USCIS prides themselves on how quickly they process those visas. When it comes to other things like work permits, they've been slow, and I think the problem is that Congress has not appropriated funds for them. They have this
It's
fee-based
always
structure.
money. We now have a larger federal budget adjusted for inflation than we've ever had in the history of the United States of America.
But with all due respect,
Always the money. Mr. Secure, what kind of job do you think that the Biden administration has done with legal immigration with the 24 million person backlog?
I think any fair estimation is that it's poor.
Well, can we agree that legal immigration is good and illegal immigration is bad?
I would think so. The country is founded on immigration, people coming here from other countries. Legal immigration is good, yes.
Does anybody disagree with that statement? Does anybody want to defend the Biden administration's 24 million people backlog in illegal immigration? But yet millions have come illegally across the border? Does anybody want to defend that? Anybody? Thank you for being here.
Senator Padilla?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to thank you and Ranking Member Graham for convening this hearing. There's limited.
Now you've seen the whole thing. Let's talk about it. Start with the grades. Kennedy asked 2 immigration experts, people who study this for a living, to grade the Biden administration on illegal immigration. One gives a C. The other gives a D-. These are not conservative commentators. These are official Senate witnesses. And even they couldn't give the administration better than average at best and near failing at worst. That alone says a lot. But here's where Kennedy really got me. He paints this picture of a Nigerian doctor, a German engineer, qualified people who looked at America and said, I want to be part of that. So they did the right thing. They got in line, filled out the paperwork and waited. Some of them for years. And we've got a 24 million person backlog in the legal immigration system. 24 million people playing by the rules and being told to wait their turn. At the same time, millions are crossing the southern border illegally. And the administration's response was basically, well, they're mostly seeking humanitarian protection. Maybe some of them are. But that still doesn't explain leaving 24 million people hanging who are doing everything right. I'll give Costa some credit. He pushed back. He blamed Congress for not funding the agencies. And look, funding is a real conversation worth having. But Kennedy's response was sharp. We have the largest federal budget in American history. Don't tell me it's always about the money. What I respected most about Kennedy's approach is that he didn't go in there screaming. He asked simple, reasonable questions. Is illegal immigration illegal? Is legal immigration good? He let the experts either agree with him or talk themselves into a corner. That's effective. That's how you make a point that actually lands. And that final moment when he asked if anyone in the room wanted to defend the 24 million person backlog alongside the millions entering illegally and was met with complete silence, that silence said everything. Here's my bottom line. You don't have to be a Republican to look at this and feel something is wrong. This isn't really a partisan issue. It's a fairness issue. If America is a country of laws, then those laws need to mean something for everyone. The person waiting patiently in Lagos deserves the same respect for the system as anyone else. Right now that balance is broken, and Kennedy made that point better in 6 minutes than most people have in years. Look into camera. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree with Kennedy? Did Costa have a point? Drop a like if this made you think, share it with someone who needs to see it, and I'll catch you in the next one.